What's funny is the longer that I sit here and like think of like, oh, what's a clever hook or a clever tie-in, it just comes across more and more like a scripted YouTube video, and it's not. There's nothing scripted. Like there's nothing scripted. My name is Brian, and I love talking to 35 to 55-year-old in the United States, mostly with W-2 jobs. Could be a business owner, could be retired, whatever. Uh, about Bitcoin because you're really valuable demographic. Like you're really like I'm personally passionate about you, and if for whatever reason you're like often overlooked in the Bitcoin news and content that's out there, because here's the thing, you don't need a news tie-in. Bitcoin's going up today. Yeah, it's randomly a Monday morning. Bitcoin's going up today. That doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what the news is saying or what the hook of the day is. What matters is you understanding why Bitcoin is fully different than stocks, why Bitcoin is fully different from other commodities, and why Bitcoin is fully different from other currencies. So let's take that one step at a time. Why is Bitcoin different than stocks? Because there's no public founder that can issue more shares and dilute the shares. Period. Okay. Why is it different than other crypto? Because there's no public founder that can increase the amount of units and dilute the amount of units. Perfect. Okay. So why is it different than other commodities? Because if you have other commodities, there's ways to increase, like as price goes up, more miners, more farmers, more whatever come online to create more supply, which brings price back in line. Can't do that with Bitcoin. There's a hard cap supply. When more miners come online, the difficulty adjustment causes it to all level out again. If you want to dive deep on difficulty adjustment in mining, I have other videos about that. I do solar mining at home. Okay, why is it different than other currencies? Again, because there's no public founder. The United States dollar has a public founder. We have a public president. We have a public head of the Federal Reserve. They sit around at a table and choose the decisions about the dollar that affects all of us. Their decisions are oftentimes frustrating. But even just the fact that there are decisions, good decisions or bad decisions, the fact that there's humans in charge of making decisions about dollars, which we all rely our life on, technology has solved that now. Bitcoin's the opposite of that. Bitcoin has an open source monetary policy. Bitcoin is the most successful open source project in the world. And the monetary policy, the issuance of new Bitcoin is just set in the software. So when you choose to partake in the network, you're understanding that agreement. And that's better. That's something you can actually lean your life on. Like you can lean your life on and plan your finances around that. Okay. So why does Bitcoin price go up and down so much then? Because it's the only thing that has that fit. Like it's so much different than everything else. And so the only outlet, as everyone is trying to figure out how to deal with it in their life, is on the price. That's why the volatility is so high. That's the one thing you have to learn how to deal with. That's the one thing you have to learn how to deal with. And that's where there doesn't have to be a clever hook of the day or the news of the day or the whatever, because you just knowing 0.21 puts you in the top 1% of people in the world that will ever hold Bitcoin. It's good, likely higher than that, likely even higher than 1%. But because of how much corporations are stacking, because of how much entities, like people know this, the secret or whatever is already out. Like the Bitcoin is very like public secret. It's everyone knows that fiat money structurally loses value, and everyone knows that the wealth gap is created by people that own assets and don't hold fiat money, right? And so what all the asset holders are all looking around at each other trying to figure out what's the best asset to hold. And that's why you go onto YouTube and you find the people that are like, oh, all about real estate, or the people that are all about precious metals, or the people that are all about stocks, or the people that are all about index funds, or the people that are all about whatever, crypto. But they'll try to tell you that to like trade crypto and that you have to like enter it the same as stocks, and you have to like pick the exact right ticker symbol and time it at the exact right time. All like any method can work. Like anything can work. What sucks is when you just try to do all of it and you try to follow all of it at the exact same time and you just become diversified and watered down. That's actually the worst. That's the worst. Rather than just really dialing in and understanding something, and dialing in and understanding Bitcoin is, I mean, this is just another guy, again, on the internet telling you about each segment, but it's the simplest and easiest and fastest horse in the race because consensus is building that Bitcoin can replace fiat money. Consensus is building that it's the only thing that's like deep enough and trades enough 24/7 in all the countries in the world against all the fiats in the world. It trades against all the crypto in the world that everyone can almost use at the exact same time to transition off of fiat money. You can still learn that and understand that and unpack that today and get to 0.21 Bitcoin and be in the top 1% holders during that transition, which is incredible. That's like incredible and interesting. And the other thing about why this is so important for like 35 to 55-year-olds is because you're like at the stage of your life where, like, yes, money matters and money all it matters and it's a big part of like your life, but also influence matters and like how where you are in your community and how your family likes it, just like your ability to impact kind of society. Getting wealthy off Bitcoin is good for the individual and it's good for society at the exact same time. And there's, again, when you split up all those buckets of like assets where you can hold your stored labor to get away from fiat money, they don't all have that awesome societal impact on them. Whereas Bitcoin, someone with zero assets that only has their job, only works hourly, they can grab a slice of Bitcoin and begin to ride the escalator up out of the fiat debasement. That's amazing. Like there's nothing else available. There's nothing else available in that small increments that can be like that sure for someone that all they have is fiat money. And you owning 0.21 is a part of that monetization. It is. It's a part of that monetization. Money is a technology. You participating in the newest upgrade of the money is helping all of society transition to the new money. That's the main thing you have to understand. Like that's the main thing you have to understand. And that's why I talk with a lot of friends about this, like where Bitcoin is like very philosophical to me, and it's also very just like cold hard tactics, personal finance to me. It's both. It's both. And I ping pong back and forth pretty rapidly between the two. And so if you're in if you're like only thinking about it through a financial lens, a lot of that might not hit, or honestly might not even come across as weird. Like because we get that advice, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't be like, you can't be like like married to your investments like that. You can't be like if you pitching it so hard, like there must be some like gotcha or whatever, because we've all just been pitched like so much stuff from so many systems, from so many things over our whole lives, right? Totally, totally. Get all of that. What is awesome is that from 10 years of studying Bitcoin, 10 years of talking to people about it, all the way from newest people all the way to OGs, I think it's a real deal. Like, I think it's a real deal. I think it's so good for society and so good for the individual at the same time. And I think it like slices through the exact fiat problem that the world has. And that's why it's so good for you to not worry about the hook, not worry about the news of the day or the whatever, and just get a part of your labor into a monetary network that is fully separate and fully different from all the other options that you have out